Um, Maybe just give us a little bit of background on why you thought it was necessary to get an organisation like Front Row Leadership involved.
I think from Saatchi's perspective, one thing as an executive leadership team that's been a key focus, particularly across this year, is how they can work more effectively together. I think as the business changes and it evolves, one of the things that we need to focus on as a leadership team is how we can collaborate and lead the agency effectively. And I think what Front Row helped us to do there is to give real clarity over the direction that we need to go in as a team. So I think one of the first things that we focused on with Front Row was to look at the characteristics and the different characteristics that make up the team and how we can play to our strengths. And I think from that, one of the things that we looked to do, particularly across the 2 days that we did with Front Row Leadership, is to really understand what were our strengths and what were the areas that we could play in better positions. So it's not about finding your weakness, it's about finding your strength and where you could play a role in terms of an effective, collaborative, agile leadership team.
Unbelievable.
We've done this before.
Anything else you'd like to add? In the first 2 days, what were the most valuable things you think came out of that?
I think, first of all, people work together on a daily basis and you think you have a general understanding of how people operate. It was good to see, particularly when you take everybody out of that work environment and you take them together and get to work with external facilitators like Front Row, to just understand really how everybody works. I think if you're working with relationships day to day, sometimes you can get frustrations coming through and I think some of those are attributed to a lack of understanding. And what was really good in the first instance for us was to break that down and really understand where we believed our key strengths were. I think one of the most interesting exercises was to really look at what we believed we could each bring to that team. We then listed that and then we began to understand where we can actually play in position. And I think from that perspective, it gives a lot more in terms of the collaboration going forward for the team. And also, if you understand where people's strengths are, you can then look to choose and adapt, depending on your situation, who's the best person for you to go to. And again, that eliminates then the frustrations that you may sometimes get with those relationships of perhaps not playing in the right position or going to the right person. I also think from Magnus's perspective as the leader of the agency, one of the things he was very that was at the forefront of his mind is to really take everybody out of the environment and give them a very clear clarity on the direction and the strategy that the leadership team needed to take. And I think it was a good filter, if you like, for us to really understand exactly what we were going to focus on for the next 6 to 12 months. Because you can do these things in half an hour. You can have a meeting, you can have an exec meeting, you can sit down and talk about what you're doing in the next week, and it's very short-term focused. And I think the thing that we took away that was of real benefit on that first day in particular was to look to get some real clarity over what the medium to long-term strategy needed to be and how the leadership team were going to behave in order to enable that success to happen.
Do you think that the culture's changed within that team in terms of more openness?
Yeah,
more respect?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the more that you can create an environment where people are honest with each other and can air their views in an environment where it's constructive and gives real clarity to where people's views, perceptions, desires are going to be. I think from that perspective, it just enables a better working relationship. I mean, I've worked in HR for around 20 years now, and I've never found it a futile exercise to take a leadership group out of their environment and really focus on what matters and do long, medium-term planning for the success of the business. Because again, it's not about that short-term solution, it's about the medium to long-term strategy to enable success in the agency.
How do you gauge the return on your investment in terms of the success of your 3 days spent with Front Row?
Well, one of the things, particularly from my perspective, is we always look at what the measures of success would be. And I think from the measure of success that we'd take away from those days, I think you've enabled a group of people that were effectively working together to really hone and tune how they could work more effectively together. And also, I think what is invaluable from it is to gain a real understanding for people's characteristics, how they work, how you can best work with them. Again, a lot of what you take in line with an agency when you're dealing with creatives, account people, planners, is you tend to pigeonhole people in characteristics. And one of the good things to take away that I think is a measure of success is to get a real understanding around those people that you wouldn't have got. And also some methodologies and some ways of working. And again, to get that group of people together, all focused rather than fragmented, one or two together, has been invaluable.